I want to go back to one thing, and I want the industry to know, and I want Wall Street to know. First of all, Alex, explain to the people what TCPA is.
So the Telephone Consumer Protection Act was basically a law to try to stop telemarketers at the time from spamming people's phones with calls without permission. That was the gist of TCPA. And what they did is they made it really easy to pull together class action lawsuits of groups of people who experience the same potentially unlawful behavior.
And how big is that industry? How big is it?
It's a huge industry in terms of lawyers both doing TCPA lawsuits when they believe there's evidence of bad behavior, and lawyers have to defend these companies who may or may not have gotten into a TCPA trap. Some are actually violating the law.
It's the richest plaintiff bar in the country, the TCPA bar, right? I mean, plaintiff lawyers, they go to parties fighting over how many jets they have.
Anytime you have a $1,500 fine for bad behavior and you've made millions of calls, it's
bang, stop right there. Fine. A $1,500 fine. Where's all that information coming from? YouMail. So what I'm saying, and I'm talking to you guys on Wall Street, what I'm saying is, like the czar puts out that list of the top 10 plaintiff lawyers every year, right? That people fight to get on. Why wouldn't you just grab 10? I grab 10 of them and say, guys, look, let's all pool our money together, buy their database, and it's over, right? Why not use it against the companies and let them police themselves? That can be done. Like, you have an intrinsic value. So I'm going to put my finance businessman hat on, right? If I'm looking to go acquire something, I tried to acquire the campaign registry, right? Very easily to raise money, unique asset, monopoly, didn't know nothing. Took me 48 hours, right? Based on the numbers, the margins, bang, done. If I were to raise money, if I were to go down to Wall Street and I was to go to some hedge funds, I'd say, hey guys, we're going to buy this asset. I wouldn't even go to them. I would go to litigation financiers. I'd go to plaintiff bars. I would get a consortium. I could just buy your database and just stew till I'm done. And every one of these companies out there, the old spammers, they wouldn't know what to do, because a lot of these plaintiff lawyers, like I said, I know a plaintiff lawyer, a firm that literally went and spent $300,000 trying to find the information you have to sue a company just because they thought they were guilty, right? Now, think about that. This is an experience I had recently. A company that they were listening to ourselves and saying, well, I don't want to name the big CPAS company. Like, well, they're definitely spamming. I'm like, yeah, everybody knows they're spamming. And they went out and they invested money. And I'm like, why don't you just call YouMail?
So a couple things, right? So we're well aware of the value of our data to potentially support going after, large-scale class actions. And so a lot of people—
But not for you. It's for the lawyers that are going to put the money up and spend that money. You're not a law firm.
Asked us, why don't you go do that? And so there's two reasons. So one is really personal. I got sued personally for TCPA violations that weren't. And that was because YouMail at one point, and we still do, had a feature called an auto reply. Someone calls you, you could configure YouMail to send a text to the caller saying, hey, can you email me instead, or go to my website, whatever. We got 4, or maybe it was 5, I can't remember anymore, class action lawsuits naming me personally and suing us for everything we had, right? Because TCPA looks through the executives of a company. Yeah. And so that was a really tough situation. It cost a ton of money to defend ourselves. Ultimately, the FCC did their declaratory judgment saying, no, of course, this is not a TCPA violation 2.5 years later. And that made me realize this is an extremely dangerous law if you didn't violate it and somehow someone's going to make through some sort of path claim you did.